Did you wake up one day wondering how you ended up in the shit show of life, where the only joy you find every day is doom scrolling TikTok, silently wondering why you had to relearn how to part your hair in the middle, and laughing at cat videos? Are you tired of wearing all the hats, doing all the things, and taking care of everyone else while you can't even sit down for an hour alone without feeling guilty? Then let me welcome you to Hustle Culture Dropout, where we're trading the chaos for clarity. I'm your host, Chastity Campbell, mom, wife, entrepreneur, and professional procrastinator. And I'm ready to bring you along as we discuss everything from burnout to self-care and entrepreneurship to wellness. If you're looking for someone who's got it all figured out, you are definitely in the wrong place. But if you want to discover how to be genuinely happy, make an impact in this world, and occasionally have mindless conversations about the latest celebrity gossip, I've got you. So get ready for some no-nonsense real talk as we take on the insanity of life and what it means to be a woman in today's world. This is Hustle Culture Dropout. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Hustle Culture Dropout. I am your host, Chastity Campbell, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I am on Thanksgiving break and had zero interest in recording this episode this week. Why? Because I am an overworked, underpaid mom who literally just wanted to enjoy Thanksgiving break, but I also have ADHD, and so I did not prepare an episode to use this week and plan ahead so I could have the week off. So here we are. And I am absolutely already caught up in the holidays. And I know based on my social media feed, everybody else is caught up in the holidays and ready to go. I think that, yes, I completely buy into the idea that the holidays get earlier and earlier every single year. And I wholeheartedly believe this is because every year gets shittier and shittier in the world, and we just want like some goodness to focus on other than all of the nonsense that's going on in the world. So I am 100% in the camp of bring on the holidays, let's bring on the cheer, let's start celebrating, let's have a good time. But I also completely recognize that the holidays can be hard for some people. I think that it can be very overwhelming, especially to women, especially to moms, because the magic of creating the holidays falls to us. And even if you have the most incredible, supportive partner that helps you out with everything, it's basically still you are executing things, or you're at least delegating the tasks to other people to have the help, which is great. But that emotional labor is still falling to us. And so I wanted to dive just a little bit deeper into this topic this week about how to manage the expectations and the self-comparison that 100% comes with the holidays. And let's face it, holidays, doesn't matter what you celebrate, they can be a freaking minefield of Pinterest perfect families, perfectly decorated homes, perfectly wrapped presents. I talked earlier this week on my social media accounts about how I was literally having the dilemma of trying to coordinate our wrapping paper with whatever theme was going to be on the Christmas tree this year. And obviously, this is not something that's necessary. This is not something that anybody cares about. The only person that cares about this is me, because I care about what the aesthetic looks like in the photos that I'm going to be posting on social media. Why do I care about that? Because I'm comparing myself to other people. And so that is the slippery slope that we fall down at holiday time. We get so wrapped up in how is this going to look to everybody else. And by everybody else, I mean basically everybody outside of your family, because you know that nobody in your family gives a crap if that wrapping paper is going to coordinate with whatever theme your Christmas tree is, or if it's going to go with the decor of your house overall, or whatever you're getting caught up in. And it's this trap that we continue to fall into, and becomes so much more prevalent during the holidays. And we just start to feel like we're falling short somehow. And even if it's not about silly things like the aesthetic of something, I personally am an aesthetic person. I appreciate the aesthetics of something. There is nothing wrong with that. If that truly brings you joy, if you're doing that because you are trying to impress other people, or you're trying to keep up with somebody else, or you're trying to appear to be something that you're not, that's when obviously this can become a problem. I just like pretty things, and I like my trees to be pretty, and I completely fall into all of that. And so but that doesn't stress me out. I do that literally because it brings me joy. But if that's not something that brings you joy, you do not need to worry about it. And the holidays are stressful enough without us trying to compare ourselves to other people and what they're doing with their families, how they're decorating their trees, what kind of meal they're eating, what they're celebrating, how many times they went to look at holiday lights, how many elves they have in their house, what the elves are doing. There's just so much that we can get caught up in as a mom, and we can start to compare ourselves, and then we can start to feel guilty that we're not doing X, Y, and Z in our home. And we just need to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves and start embracing the reality of the holidays. And the reality is that our homes are not going to be spotless. This is something that drives me crazy because all of my people are home this week, and people want to do the things like, right? They want to play the games, they want to watch the shows, and stuff just starts building up and piling up. And I'm going around trying to constantly clean up, which then just makes me angry that I'm constantly having to clean up things when I just actually lowered my expectations and understood that this week is going to be a little bit of an exception to how things normally are around here, and just sort of let that go and don't focus on it, I would be such a much happier person. I mean, kids are not going to be perfectly behaved. The meals are not going to be, Instagram worthy. You're not going to sit around and film every single one of them and talk about your elevated side dishes on TikTok. I can watch that shit all day long, and I absolutely love it. But I also know that there is zero chance that everything that I place on the table for our Thanksgiving meal is going to be something that is worthy of being splashed out on social media. And here's the thing too. What even makes it worthy? Who cares? Like, if you're having boxed macaroni and cheese and you like, put that shit on the internet, like, be normal, be relatable, be whatever you are. Like, if that is what your family is eating and they absolutely love it, like, share that and own it. And again, it comes down to this idea that we are trying to be something that we are not. And the more normal that we can be, the more people can relate to us. And so, going back to the expectations, how do we manage the expectations, and how do we avoid this whole holiday self-comparison thing? And we are going to break it down a little bit, and I'm going to give you a few tips. Also, just preferencing this entire episode with, these are things that I under no circumstances have perfected. I struggle with all of this, especially when it comes to keeping your expectations realistic. And I always have this vision, because it's the vision that social media has fed to me, that we are all going to be sitting around playing games, laughing, having the best time, when in reality, I don't even like games, like, unless it's a football game. I don't really like playing games. It's just not me. It's not my jam. My oldest daughter, also not a big game playing person. So we definitely are the outliers of the family, because we don't really love doing that, because the other people in our family do enjoy doing that. And so having a game night during the holiday break is going to be met with a lot of resistance, at least from Brooklyn and I. And we can butt heads a little bit about like, how does that look? Like, it's not like we're all just like, let's sit down and play this game together. And so I completely struggle with lowering expectations. And I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to settle for like Christmas tree made out of balled up socks. But it does mean letting go of this idea that your tree or all 7 of your trees need to coordinate, and they need to coordinate with the aesthetic of the room. And like we were talking about earlier, the wrapping paper needs to be the same and the ribbon needs to be the same. And just let go of all of that. Okay. Unless you enjoy that, if that doesn't stress you out, then embrace it and love it and own it. That personally to me doesn't really stress me out to have my Christmas trees look a certain way. And yes, I said Christmas trees because we have several. I mean, we have 3 downstairs that are all decorated, and then the kids each have one. But we like that. We enjoy that. We have like a tree that is completely just like handmade ornaments that the kids have handmade, and they're very nostalgic, and it's the very traditional look of, I have an ornament with every one of the kids' little face on it, like when they were little, and it's all of the handmade ornaments and just ornaments that have been passed down to us or gifted to us. And so we have that tree. And then I have a main tree that usually is a different color every year based on whatever ornaments I'm throwing up on it. That kind of stuff I enjoy. Some people, and probably many of you listening, think that that's the most asinine waste of fucking time ever. And that's okay. If that is not your jam, that's okay. Again, do not try to do that because I'm doing that or somebody else is doing that you saw. You need to let it go. You need to not worry about having this picture perfect holiday, and instead focus on spending the time with the kids, creating memories instead of creating this like flawless social media aesthetic. After you can actually finally lower your expectations, you need to start focusing on what is important. And I talked about this actually last week with my guest, Morgan Jackson. And so if you haven't listened to last week's episode, you're definitely going to want to go back to that because we talk a lot about actually looking at what's important to you and your family during the holidays. What traditions are super important and that everybody looks forward to, and what are some things that you can like let go of. Again, like my family doesn't really love Thanksgiving dinner. They don't really love any of the traditional side items that come with Thanksgiving dinner. They don't even really like turkey. And so several years ago, I completely gave up cooking a Thanksgiving meal for us. And we even had like a couple years where we went out to eat. One year we actually went down to the Pearl here in San Antonio, which is just this beautiful outdoor area with shopping and amazing culinary restaurants. And we actually went down and like everybody just went to their own restaurant and got whatever they wanted for Thanksgiving dinner. And then we sat outside and we ate it like by the tree down at the Pearl. So we've done some things like that. I also have bought Thanksgiving dinner in the past just because what really pisses me off more than anything is when I sit and I slave away at this meal that nobody in my family eats. And I did this for years, I only stopped cooking Thanksgiving dinner probably like 4 to 5 years ago. And it was because I had spent 2 days cooking all of this huge meal, this traditional meal that I knew that nobody in my family really loved, but I was so hung up on this idea of it being the perfect holiday that I completely disregarded what my family actually liked and what they actually wanted. And I just did what everybody else was doing. And then I was super pissed and angry and resentful after I had been cooking for 2 days and nobody ate this. And it literally resulted in this me being like pissed the rest of the day and completely overreacting, completely making everybody else feel horrible about nothing that they did, because this is no secret that they didn't like this. It was my expectations and me getting so caught up in having this be what everybody else was making it, instead of just being like, we don't really like this. So what are we going to do different? So it's fun and it's enjoyable for all of us. And so I just stopped cooking the meal altogether. And instead, we focused very heavily on the appetizers. In our family, we're a very big family of like charcuterie boards or just like snack boards in general. We do one at Christmas and we do a big one at Thanksgiving. We enjoy that. Everybody enjoys that part of it. And then I just really like minimized what we're serving at dinner. And I only do like a few of the things that I know everybody's going to like. Now, I will say this year it's going to look a little bit different because some of my kids are a little bit older now and they are more willing to try different things, or their taste buds have evolved a little bit. My daughter, Brooklyn, who's the oldest, she's our 22-year-old. She's bringing her boyfriend home this year. He's a big foodie. And so he, loves eating and trying different things. Our 16-year-old is really trying to broaden his horizons a little bit and try new things. My littlest girls are incredible eaters. They basically will eat anything you put on the table. And so we are going to try to do some different sides, but we're putting a little twist on it this year. And so my point here is that don't like make your family be miserable for the sake of having this holiday that looks like everybody else's. I actually saw somebody post on TikTok the other day about how they were making everybody's favorite dishes, and she had little kids, and so that was going to be like frozen chicken nuggets and noodles, and they were just making the entire day about something fun that the kids liked to do. And it was completely non-traditional because they just don't, that's not for them. It's not for them. And so just stop trying to create this holiday around things that your family doesn't even like. So instead, maybe talk to them a little bit about like, what are the things that you really love? Like, what are the things that you absolutely want to have this year? And instead of trying to do all of the things every week and you trying to like create this holiday magic that they might not even care about that much. Instead of doing that and just driving yourself absolutely crazy, talk to them and ask them like, what are the things that you really love? Like, what makes it the holidays for you? What can you not do without? And maybe after talking with them, you can let some of this other nonsense go. Like people who like break out matching like holiday sheets in their house. I don't understand that. That's like a whole new level of holiday obsession that I do not personally understand or enjoy. And if I made everybody put holiday sheets on their bed, they would literally probably look at me like I was the craziest person in the world. So instead of focusing on what can you do, what can we do, what can we keep doing, what can we buy, what can we occupy ourselves with, just focus on spending your time, creating those memories, and focusing on the items that your family actually wants to do and wants to be a part of. And then just be honest with yourself. So don't pretend to be something you're not. Like I said earlier, I have 3 Christmas trees downstairs. Every kid in our family has a Christmas tree in their room. We love this. This is what we do. Probably not John, probably not my husband. He might disagree with us, but honestly, I think deep down inside, he probably likes it as well. And primarily because he doesn't decorate the trees. Like he doesn't do that. And so, things just look magical in the house for him. So I don't think that he minds it all that well, except for when I come home and I'm like, and now we're having a pink themed tree, which we do in our library. But if that is not your jam, if putting up a Christmas tree with a few ornaments on it and not being extravagant and not going over the top and not having everything coordinate is not your jam, then don't pretend that it is. Do not feel guilty about it. Do not feel bad about it. There is literally nothing wrong with doing it absolutely your way. If you're not Martha Stewart and you don't even care to be Martha Stewart, don't force it. Embrace your own unique brand of holiday chaos, because I am sure that whatever you do enjoy doing in your house can bring enough chaos that you don't need to add to it by forcing yourself to be somebody that you're not. Stop the comparison. Literally stop the comparison. It is the hardest part, but it's also the most important. Everybody's life is different. We are all doing different things. We all have the capacity to do different things. Some of us are working, some of us are single and trying to be mom and dad and do all of the things. There's a lot going on. Some of us really don't even fucking like the holidays, and you're just trying to like put a smile on your face to make it okay with everybody else. Some of us are hurting. Do not compare what your holiday looks like with what everybody else's looks like. It really is completely irrelevant. What goes on inside of your house and how you do things is going to be the most important thing. And I know that's super hard to hear and to understand, because again, we think that everybody else in the neighborhood is having this incredibly magical, everybody's sitting around roasting marshmallows and eating the traditional meal, and their tree looks perfect, and they got every gift that they wanted. And we think that everybody else is doing that except us. And it is just not the reality. The next thing you need to keep in mind is that you need to laugh at yourself. Things are going to go wrong. You, as a woman, especially if you're a mom, especially if you're a working mom, are going to have a meltdown. At some point, you are literally going to be walking through the aisles of Target thinking, I cannot fucking wait for this to be over. I need these kids to go back to school. I need my husband to go back to work. I need all of the things to be normal again. And you're going to be over it, and you're going to probably lose your shit on somebody. And that's just the way it is. I am not kidding you. Me and my family, we love the holidays. This is our favorite time of year. We absolutely love everything about the holidays. And there is zero chance that even with that going on for us, we will not end up bickering, fighting. My husband and I have already had a fight this Thanksgiving break, and we're like 4 days into it. I mean, when I say fight, I'm like a disagreement. That's already happened. It would not be a actual Christmas break if my daughter and I didn't get into a like screaming match with one another that results in one or both of us being in tears. Literally happens almost every year. Really hoping that since she is now like grown and out of the house, when she comes home this year for Christmas, there's only like 4 days that she's going to be home. Maybe we can avoid that. I don't know. I haven't decided where I'm going to like have my expectation lie with that one. I don't know if I need to lower my expectation and just expect it, and then like, expect the worst, hope for the best situation. But it happens. And I mean, and it doesn't feel good in the moment for sure. And there's probably some apologizing that you're going to have to do, especially if you lose your shit on people and you like are yelling at them for no reason because you're stressed and you're overwhelmed and you're not delegating tasks to people. You're not asking them for help. You're not setting boundaries for yourself. A lot of the stuff we create for ourselves. A lot of this madness we bring on ourselves. And so when you can get a little bit removed from it, it's a little easier to laugh at it. So just when stuff goes awry, just don't take it personally. Understand that it's happening to all of us. And remember that it's just supposed to be a time of celebration. It is not supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to be stressful. It's not supposed to make you anxious. And so take a deep breath, lower your expectations, focus on what's truly important. And if you need a little extra support, I'm sure there's a liquor store around the corner. We've already stocked our liquor cabinet. That's not your jam. Find some support. I promise you, there is somebody else out there. There is another mom. There is another woman out there who literally is on the brink of losing her shit during the holidays. And you can reach out to each other and be each other's support. It is especially important during the next few weeks, like I've been talking about for weeks leading up to this, for you to take time to yourself. It doesn't really matter if it's a quick walk around the block, if you want to hop in the car and like go sit in the McDonald's parking lot and eat a Big Mac. If that is your thing, that's your thing. If you want to read a book, if you want to plan a brunch with friends, but look at your calendar and schedule in some breaks in the next few weeks for yourself. So that way you can take a little step back from making all of the magic happen and you can actually decompress, de-stress, relax a little bit, breathe a little bit, take some time, and then come back and be the actual mom that everybody deserves in your house. I knew going into Thanksgiving break that I was going to need a break. I was going to need a break from everybody. And I get overstimulated very easily. I get overwhelmed very easily. And I have to just decompress a little bit. I have to have some time to myself. Everybody is very respectful of that in our house. Most of us sort of have that same trait. And so luckily we're very respectful of that. My husband is always super great at checking in with me and asking me, hey, how are you doing? How is everything going? And recognizing sort of like when I'm about to lose my mind. And so I knew going into this week, I was going to need some time to myself, and I scheduled a brunch with some girlfriends. And so that will kind of be nice to break up the week. So just keep that in mind as you are heading into the rest of this week and going into the holidays of December, everything that comes with it. Keep reminding yourself to focus on what is the most important for you and your family, and keep that in mind and schedule some time in for yourself. And I hope everybody has a wonderful break this week. If you are on break, if you have family around, I hope you're spending it with your family. And, keep in mind that if things go awry, which probably will, that you're going to be fine. You're going to sit back. You're going to laugh about it. Enjoy everything that this week has to offer, and we will catch up with you next week. Thank you so much for being here. This is another episode of Hustle Culture Dropout.